Hey guys, I hope you liked the new intro. I had some problems with my last two reports, the scenes from YouTube, so we felt the need to go ahead and change things up, and hopefully everything will be okay now. So this game is going to be Orcs and Goblins versus Skaven. It's going to be another Grow Quest test game. We're both going to have Comp 11. And for this test scenario, we're going to use the Blood and Glory one from Grow Quest. And it's going to be different from regular Blood and Glory in that it's you get these points after you've added up your victory points. So if you're the first to break your enemy, you get +3 battle points. If you're the second, you get +2 battle points. But it's not going to give you bonus points during the game, so that you don't like in other variations of Blood and Glory, you'll get like 500 or 1,000 victory points, and that can help you win. This doesn't help you win. This just gives you bonus at the end. So it's going to be a lot different, I think, than normal. But to see how this plays out. I also want to take a second here to say I think it's going to be very, very fitting that my 13th battle report will be going against Skaven. He's not going to have dreaded 13th though. Here's another quick look at my army. And this is the same army as I had in my last game. I fought this on the same night, but the delay in between these reports is just because I had to make a new intro and I wanted to make that little video game style part of the intro, and unfortunately I don't have a high definition camera, so that's basically the best video quality I'm able to get. Here's my Skaven opponent's army. He's new to 8th edition, but he's played Warhammer before in the past. But I think he has a few little mistakes here, and I think that's just basically from being either away from Warhammer a long time, or maybe Skaven are allowed to do these things and I didn't know it, because he has like things like the Enchanted Shield on his Grey Seer, and he's got a War Banner and magic items on his BSB, and I'm assuming that's not allowed, but maybe Skaven are able to do that. Otherwise, this is a pretty soft Skaven list. I mean, he doesn't have any HPAs, only one Warp Lightning Cannon. You're going to see his slaves are only 50 strong, and he really has nothing that can do damage in combat, so you can be dependent on his shooting, and he doesn't really have the bad things that you worry about when you're thinking about Skaven. And I'm going to have to apologize again here. I ate dinner between games and somehow I got something smudged on the lens of my camera, and so my regular camera wasn't making good clean pictures, so we had to use phone cameras, and between me and my opponent I think we pretty much got the whole game covered, but the quality is not going to be as good as my normal quality is from my battle reports. But here we have some pics of the start of the game after deployment, and here's one from his side, and he's got more of an aerial view here, and you can see it's the same board as I played on my last game, but he has lots of big blocks there around his hill, and it seems like the deployment is really favoring me because I can just hopefully go on in there and smash things up. And here's a picture of Vanguard, and you see I move my Wolf Riders here on the right towards his Doom Wheel, and I'm just thinking, if I don't get first turn, if his Doom Wheel goes towards my Wolf Riders and shoots them, I'd rather it shoot them than shoot anything that I really care about. And this is Orc and Goblin turn 1. I do manage to win the first turn, but animosity gets me right off the bat. My Savage Biggins fell animosity. And if you notice, you'll see what looks like the shamans in front. The thing is, my shaman and war boss weighed so much, and this tray was partly on the hill, and it was making it fall down, so I just took them out of the unit and set them in front of the unit. So they're really in the unit, just that they weighed too much because they were metal, that they were messing up this tray. But the savages fell, so they're stuck where they are. I move everything else I can up. My Black Orc in the bunker keeping me from losing magic. I'm able to get my Wolf Riders that were around that Doom Wheel all the way around, so that I'm threatening the Warp Lightning Cannon, so he pretty much has to deal with the Wolf Riders now with his Doom Wheel. Otherwise he's going to lose that Warp Lightning Cannon. When we go into magic, I'm not really able to do much, but his shooting is where I'm going to really shine here. My Rock Arbor gets a direct hit on his Plague Catapult, and I destroy it right off the bat. Then my Doom Diver hits his Jezzails. I only kill one of them, but he fails his panic and he runs right off the board. So right off the bat, I've taken out 2 of his big shooting things from my shooting. And this is Skaven turn 1. I'm able to shut down his magic, but in his shooting, he really doesn't. He does stuff, but it's not that bad. I mean, like I thought, his Doom Wheel does take out those wolf riders there, but I was willing to sacrifice them. But the rest of his shooting only takes out one more wolf rider from my other unit, one troll with a couple wounds carried over, and a couple of big ones. So I think taking out that plague catapult and his Giselles really helped me a lot not to lose much. Now in the Orc and Goblin turn 2, I start out with a bunch of charges. I charge my little Night Goblins at his Rat Swarm, my remaining Wolf Riders at another Rat Swarm, my Spawn Beast at one of his slave units, my Trolls at the other slave unit that has Death Frenzy on them. And I try to charge my single Troll at that same slave unit, but it fails its charge, so it's pretty much blocking my Savages now, which I wanted to be moving up so they could be towards the center and be able to threaten a lot of things. And in Magic, I'm pretty much shut down again. However, in shooting, I just really... My Rock Lava lands right on his Warp Lightning Cannon. And again, I get a direct hit and destroy that Warp Lightning Cannon. So in 2 turns, my Lava is taken out, a catapult and a cannon. The rest of my shooting, I think I put 1 wound on his Doom Diver. When I'm shooting his weapon teams, I think he gets Lookout Sirs that are 4+, so I don't think I'd do anything. I think I maybe kill a couple of slaves. I mean clan rats, not slaves. But anyway, when we go into combat here, his Death Frenzy on his slaves really gets me here. I lose about 3 trolls. I kill a good number of slaves, and I'm into combat, but that Death Frenzy hurt my trolls more than I was expecting it to. Otherwise, I'm able to take out 1 swarm from each of his swarms in the other combats. He really does no damage to me in either one of those. My Spine Beast kills a ton of slaves. He does 1 wound to me, but he passes all his tests, or he crumbles a bit with his 2 rat swarms. Otherwise, right now he's just basically holding me up. Now this is Skaven turn 2. This time when he tries to get Death Frenzy on those slaves, I know to stop it, and I'm able to stop it this time. So when we go into shooting, he doesn't have that much shooting left. I think he takes a few shots at some things with his warp muskets and his little weapons teams, but he really does nothing. I think he's able to shoot into the troll combat, and I think he does a wound or 2 to my trolls, but that's about it. And also I think his Warp Fire Thrower does a wound to my Spawn Beast that's fighting those slaves as well. So when we go into those combats, my Spawn Beast tears up a lot of slaves, but I think he does another wound to me, so I lost 3 wounds on that Spawn Beast. And this time without the frenzy, his slaves really can't do much damage to my trolls. But he's still got, I think, around 15 or so trolls left in that unit. And with the rat swarms, my Night Goblins crumble out that rat swarm. My Wolf Riders only crumble the other swarm down to its last wound. And I was really hoping that I was going to get those out of the way so that my turn I could charge his engineer or something, and then charge my troll into the slave combat and charge my big ones into other slaves with the trolls, and at that point his whole lines would be in trouble. Orc and Goblin turn 3, and wouldn't you know it, my stinking little Night Goblin unit rolls double 1s for animosity. They pick a fight on my big ones with my big ones. Now both of those units are squabbling. I had a charge on his Doom Wheel. My big ones were going to go into his slaves. Everything was going to be great. So instead, I just had my single troll go into the other slaves with the Spine Beast, because they need to move out of the way anyway. But, oh god, those big ones. That's 3 turns in a row. They really be able to move nowhere. Again, I pretty much shut down in Magic. I don't have much to do because I don't really want to roll 6 dice at things for the Gork, when I feel like I have for the most part things well in hand. In shooting, I think I shoot at his Doom Wheel mainly, and I really do nothing this time. I do think my Doom Diver misfires and blows itself up, so I probably was due for something like that after all the good shooting my Lava had been doing. So we go into these combats. Also, my Pump Wagon does come into the flank of those slaves. When we go in these combats, again, I'm whirling down his slaves, basically. And I'm able to finally finish off that rat swarm my Wolf Riders are fighting, and so I reform them to face his engineer. Skaven turn 3. He sends his Doom Wheel into my Night Goblins. Um, Other than that, Magic's really not taking much. Other than that, Deference is Magic's not really doing much this game. And he's only got a little bit of shooting. He throws his Death Globe on the Wolf Riders that are threatening an engineer, and he's able to wipe them out. But otherwise, he doesn't have much shooting left. When we go into combats, I'm finally able to take both of those slave units out. So they're finally both gone, and now the way's clear to his clan rats. His Doom Wheel kind of fluffs its impact hits and everything. It wins combat. Our general's nowhere near my Night Goblins. When my Night Goblins decide they're going to try to redeem themselves, I roll a 3 from my break test, and they hold. So now, basically on my turn, I really need to start getting into the clan rats. Orc and Goblin turn 4, and my stupid trolls fail stupidity. Even with the reroll, I can't win for losing here. My big guns, I try a long charge here to get to those. I just can't get to those clan rats. They fail the charge. But my spine beast and my punt wagon are able to get to those other clan rats. Going to Magic, I headbutt his Greyseer, but I only do 1 wound. Shooting, I don't think I do much. I think I try to shoot his engineers and his teams, and they really do nothing. Going into combats, my Night Goblins do another wound to his Doom Diver, not his Doom Diver, his Doom Wheel. But this time he breaks me and I get destroyed. Going to other combat, my spike attack, well, first my impact hits, I kill like 8 clan rats with my pump wagon. But then the spike attacks come after impact hits. I destroy my own pump wagon and a couple more clan rats. Then I focus my attacks on his. I have 7 attacks with Frenzy. I focus like 5 on his BSB. I kill his BSB. I put 2 on his other engineer. I do 1 wound to that engineer, and then my Thunder Stomps. I win by a ton. He's still steadfast, but he doesn't have his BSB, and he's out of general range. So he's only on, I think, a 5 or a 6. He fails it. He runs off the board. I forget that I need to pursue because I'm frenzied with my Spine Beast, and I don't pursue, but I should pursue. I wouldn't have gone off the board, but I should not be able to turn to face his engineer like I do. Now we have Skaven turn 4, and he charges the assassin. He reveals and charges it out at my trolls. I think he just wanted to use his assassin. I think he knew he was going to die, and I think he figured he was in a lot of trouble after losing that big lead on the clan rats with his BSB. So he just wanted to get that used. And also, in Magic, he Skitter Leaps his Greyseer out of that unit to at least save that Greyseer, and he puts it behind the building over there. When we go into shooting, his Warp Fire Thrower misfires shooting at my Spine Beast. It runs right into it and blows up. It kills itself, and it takes my Spine Beast down to the last wound. It's even with the multiple wounds, it only does 1 wound. So my Spine Beast is down to its last wound. It looks like he forgets to use his Doom Wheel completely. And so then now we just go into the combat, and I think he does a couple wounds to my trolls, and then my trolls just kill his assassin. Orc and Goblins turn 5 now. I do charge my trolls into his last clan rat unit. Basically, he's got an engineer in there. I'm hoping to just assassinate it. I also try to charge my big guns into that combat too, but of course they fail. They decide they're taking this game off. Now I charge my Spine Beast at his other engineer that's on the hill. I shouldn't have been able to do that because it should have been facing the other way, and I would have had to reform it this turn. But I forgot, that it was frenzied. So I charged at his engineer. He fails his terror, and the way he flees to the other side of the hill, I was going to need double 6s to catch it, and I rolled the double 6s. So technically, in this game I killed the engineer, but technically I shouldn't have killed it. I'd taken 1 wound off of it, but I hadn't killed it, so it should have still been alive with 1 wound left. So now we're going into Magic, and I really have nothing to do. I going into shooting, shoot my chuckas at his doom wheel, and I'm able to do 1 wound to it, so I get it below half wounds. And for Goral Quest, you get points for things like this. So I would get half points for the doom wheel and half points for the engineer that I killed but shouldn't have killed. So then we go into the combat. I'm able to assassinate his engineer. I kill a bunch of other clan rats. He loses combat, but he's steadfast and he holds. And so we go into Skaven turn 5, and right now he's just really trying to take my trolls out. So he turns his doom wheel to go into my trolls, and he rolls triple ones for his movement. So his doom wheel doesn't even make it to my trolls. But he still wins this combat here, and he beats my trolls, but he doesn't run them down. So I have my 2 trolls left, so he'll get half points for them since they're fleeing, but he doesn't wipe them out. And I don't think he does anything imagine. I think he tries to do plague on my savages. He might kill a few, but he really, they're still frenzied, so they're not going to panic. And so basically, like, ends the game. So when you work this out, I'm up at exactly 1,000 points. You need to be 1,001 to be 14.6, so this is going to be a 13.7. I think if we had had time in a regular game, we'd have played the extra turn. I would see if I could get that extra point, but otherwise, going into bonus points, I do break him, so I get +3 for that. My savages are still alive, so I get +1 for that. Now, for his most expensive enemy unit, both his clan rats are worth the same. His weapon teams makes the one with his BSB worth 5 points more, but I don't know if that's how you figure it out or not. And with tuners the same, I don't know how you figure out which one's the most expensive. I think he's supposed to declare it, which we didn't do. So if I get all 5 there, then it makes it 18.7, depending on how you work out that last one. So this will be 18.7, and if you realize now that his Night Runners never show up, he rolls a 1 or a 2 every turn for them to show up, and they never show up. Even I think the last 2 turns he rolls 1s, so they do not show up the entire game. So it's just really bad luck for him. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I apologize for a long wait. And I hope you liked the new intro, and I'll see you guys next time, and feel free to subscribe or like or make any comments. I'll talk to you guys later.